There we go. Let's get Facebook in here and we can get the ball rolling. Fix my hat. There we go. Wheels spinning. 1 and 2. Welcome in. It is 7:35 Mountain Time. We are halfway through July, and it's time for an episode of Broncos for Breakfast. I am Nick Kendell, joined by Erick Trickel. Good morning to you, Erick. Always appreciate you waking up as early as you do for these shows. How are you doing? Hopefully it's not as hot there as it is here in Seattle, because right now we're supposed to reach 90 degrees today. A lot of houses out here don't have air conditioning. I'm assuming you don't either. And then the houses are built to capture and store heat, especially sunlight. So when it gets 90 in the summer, it is miserable in here. So we're living life. Thank God it's early right now, but today's going to be not very fun.
Yeah, fortunately, we haven't had a whole lot of super hot weather lately. It's only been high 60s. I think we had a couple days in the low 70s there. But August is when things get really hot up here. But I'm doing good. I'm actually doing really good this morning. I got an email notification that a board game I pre-ordered is getting released early. So instead of having to wait another month, it gets released on Sunday, and I'm really excited for it. It's one of my favorite board games, and it's a new, not necessarily expansion, but a new take on it. Like how they have new edition, I guess would be the better way to put it. Like how they have all those different Monopoly editions. And as a big board game collector with over 300 board games and play them all, I'm excited for it. So that was good news today.
That is good news. Yeah, man, that's a lot of fun. What's it called?
It's called Horrified. It's a D&D Dungeons and Dragons edition of Horrified.
Wow. Well, God bless you. I don't know how you have the attention span or the time for video games with the kid. I guess your kid's old enough now, but mine would just be screaming, trying to crawl on me if I wasn't, directly playing cars with him. But God, that's his favorite word. Everything. We're like on the top of the trailhead. Or we have this book. I don't know if you know this kid's book. It's pretty popular. Chicka Chicka Boom Boom. Maybe it came out a little bit. And on the back of it, they have like the other books that's by that company, the same thing. And there's like the tiny print on the back. And one of them is like words, has like a dinosaur on it, and like a micrometer sized car. And he's sitting there. I'm putting him to bed the other night, and he's pointing car. And I'm like, there's no car in this. Oh my God, there is a car. You know what? You're right. My goodness. So yeah, no, he's a joy. He woke up at 5 this morning, so my wife is not having a good time. I went up for more coffee, and she gave me the death stare. So appreciate you, love you. I don't know why he woke up at 5. It wasn't my fault. He actually woke me up. So I don't get the blame on that one for once. Gatorade Gaming, good morning. I better click on it too. So yeah, my brain's half functioning as well. It says, good morning, Nick and Erick. What's good, Broncos country? What's good is the Broncos have signed their first round pick. We'll get into it here in just a second. We do want to say hello to everybody in the chat. Thank you for the react from Chase Wellner and Eric Smith over on Facebook. Jason Bonney in the house says, hot and 95 and humid here in South Carolina. Woof. Yeah, we had a chance between Denver and South Carolina, and we were there for a week that was nice weather. I'll put that in quotes. And I thought I was dying walking around. I was just damp. So not for me. Not for me. I don't know. I can't do the heat, man. It's just I'm not built for it. Your blood thickens. I don't want it to thicken. I'm okay. Let me not do that. So God bless the people who can hang in the South, and really happy for the Broncos as well as we're shifting here. The big news: Jahdae Barron signs. We talked about it a lot last night on Building the Broncos. Our guy David Cromwell was like, "Is there something nefarious going on with the Broncos not signing? Is it going to be a big thing?" I'm like, honestly, I'm not worried about it yet. It's around training camp. I'm expecting something to get done for Jahdae Barron. The RJ Harvey stuff might be a little bit more cantankerous, I guess is the word I'll use, because of everything going on with the second round rookie contracts and the guaranteed money. Thank you, Houston Texans. But I wasn't worried about Barron. And then an hour after the show ends, Mike Kliss first report, Jahdae Barron signs a new contract.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a little bit, I believe, last Wednesday, and I said I wouldn't be surprised if he signed by Tuesday or Wednesday, right before the start of the rookie little mini camp that they have starting today. So not at all surprised it got done. Glad it got done, because now that's one less thing that they have to split their focus on. Now it's just getting things figured out with RJ Harvey and the extensions, not just the players, but George Payton, he's up for an extension as well. So it's just one less thing they need to focus on, and it's one less thing that Jahdae Barron has to focus on. Even though they typically leave that up to their agents, it is something that can still sit on the back of their mind, and it can impact them as they're making the adjustment to the NFL. So glad it's done and over with, and now he can focus on improving, getting the defense down, and getting ready to be a starter.
Yeah, and shout out again to Mike Kliss, probably the best Broncos insider. I want to rank them. There's some good ones out there, of course, but Kliss is typically first on the bigger breaking stuff. So appreciate him. Always enjoy talking with him when I'm able to brush elbows, combine, or anything like that. He's a funny dude. I remember a lot of talk about the 2017 draft, and I was vehement, like, yeah, Broncos probably shouldn't trade up into the top 10 for running back Christian McCaffrey, who's been great, and I'd love to have Christian McCaffrey, but trading up from 20 to, I think they're talking about 7 or 6 for a running back for that team. I'm like, I just take the offensive tackle. I was actually pro Garrett Bowles and Cam Robinson in that class. Ryan Ramczyk would have been fine too. Bowles best in hindsight, though. I think this far looking down, and it looks like Eric's frozen because I see Dylan moving there. So, there he is. Good to see you. We want to say hello to more folks in here. Gatorade says it's been hot summer on the East Coast. Yeah, man. Flooding, too. We have just unbelievable flooding this year everywhere. Really thinking about everybody's been hit with that. It really sucks. It's sad. Trillions of dollars, billions and billions of dollars of damage, too, which human life more important than the dollar there. But, the American mind. Kayleon Green. Yo, Kayleon with a new picture. Kayleon, why are you not smoking a big cigar here? I feel like I'm kind of taken aback. Where's the cloud of the smoke around? We appreciate you, Kayleon. Good to see you, dressed up, looking good. We got God of War coming in, man. Hardcore here. Looks like maybe is that Tony Soprano? Oh, it's a Godfather picture there. Okay, that makes more sense. I'm more of a Sopranos guy than the Godfather, but Godfather, great, of course, of its time. Good to see you. It says Broncos country. We got our guy Mike Givens coming in here, 1999. Really, really do appreciate you. Dunhill Jefferson. Mike, you always drop it in, and then I don't see a chat after that. So God bless you. If you have something, we'll get to you. But always good to see you. And then our guy Troy. Heart of Gold. Good to see you, Troy. I'll be excited to see you hopefully again at the meet and greet this year with you and your son. And it's always a joy to talk with you. He says, hey, guys, I think I'm rooting for all second rounders to get fully guarantees, including Harvey. I talked about this a lot last night. I do enjoy, like, from the strategy perspective of teams to be able to not have the guaranteed contracts just to get yourself out of bad contracts if possible. But I'd be talking out of both sides of my mouth if I didn't say I'm not pro player first and foremost. With the sport these guys play and everything, I'd rather them get the fully guaranteed contracts and deal with the ramifications. Now, what does that mean? Are you signing guys like baseball where it's a 13-year contract and the last 6 are absolute albatross, and it's pretty tough with the cap as well. I don't know what the downstream ramifications, but baseline is pro player guarantees, toughest, most physical, long-term issue health-wise sport. I want the fully guaranteed contracts. Also, I think if you're in the league 5 years, you should have healthcare provided by the league, which I know is expensive. I don't care. It's so much money involved in football. If they're a vested veteran, I don't know what the cutoff is for that, but they should have healthcare until they get to Medicare age at that point.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about billionaire owners and high millionaire on the ones who are on the lower end of the scale. I'm all for players getting what they want but there's an extent to it. I absolutely hate baseball. I don't hide that fact, and part of the reason why I hate baseball is because the contracts they can do and the the slimy, shady stuff that they can do with the structure of it, like Shohei Ohtani's contract and how they're paying chump change until 10 years from now or whatever it is, 5 years from now. I hate that kind of stuff, but NFL it's a little bit different because you do have that salary cap, and it always has to come due on the salary cap. So I'm fine with the second round picks looking for guarantees, but it's just everyone needs to understand that it's also going to have that domino effect that third round picks are going to start asking for more guaranteed once those second round picks start getting all guaranteed, and it's just going to keep working that way. And wouldn't be too long before seventh round picks are asking for fully guaranteed contracts, and just because of that effect that you have, and we're still probably decades away from that, but it's just working towards it. So always for it. As I said on Monday, I think the Walter Penner group should just be, hey, you know, have the cojones to give him that fully guaranteed contract and, create some enemies with the NFL, but they're not going to do that because they're still new. They don't want to do that, but it'd be cool if they did because it can be a advantage for the Broncos from a competitive standpoint as well.
Yeah. And I think it's good to reward your guys. I understand, like, because it's slotted with the rookie contracts, they are a little protected still, all the same. So we'll see what happens. Michael Ronquillo says, "Good morning, Nick and Eric on Broncos for Breakfast." Thank you so much for the super chat, Michael. We appreciate you. He also says, rookie Jahdae Barron finally signs his contract. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. We do want to say hello to young Tyrone coming in here. Yo, Broncos fans, what's up? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Chase Wellner says it's been 50s and raining the last couple days in Montana. My Pacific Northwest mossback loves that, the vampire in me. So I could use a little bit of cooler and rain for sure, especially hopefully dampen some of these fires that are starting to pop up. I think it's going to be a bad fire year. It's so dry. We got Shields coming in and says, yo, yo, yo. Do we have the details of the contract yet? We have some details of the contract from, again, Mike Kliss. Broncos signing bonus, 9.8 million, 4-year total, 18 million essentially. Barron due for roughly 9.8 signing bonus, 4-year deal. All Broncos players under contract besides second round pick RJ Harvey. So good to get it done. Good to have him here. Never a doubt on my end it was going to happen and get done.
Yeah, it's not like the Bengals situation with Shamar Stewart where they're very vocal about the issue with, the Bengals trying to slide some shady, sneaky stuff in there that they haven't really done before with the first round pick. And they're trying to do it when it comes to voiding money and all that. And so they're trying to be a little bit more shady about it. And so when things aren't vocal and public, it's typically a good sign. And I kind of wrote about this yesterday morning, talking about both the contract situations with Harvey and Barron. That it's one of those situations with Barron where the no news was good news because neither side was going public with what the hang up was with the negotiations. So just seemed like it might have been a couple, verbiage things that were, not necessarily major deals like it is with the Bengals and Stewart, and they were able to work it out and get it done just in time for rookies to report.
Yeah, gotta love that. And yeah, they're reporting today. So I don't know what that means for RJ Harvey, but we do got one done and just one guy left still. So that's great to see. Do want to say hello also. Yeah. Good Michael repping from Tucson, Arizona. Great to see you. Dunhill says he's in Queen Creek, Arizona. Hopefully you guys aren't too hot out there. Ernie Mays, go Broncos country only. We got Broncos Tube coming in. Amy Alez, of course, as well. And we appreciate all our super chat givers. They are factors for us in each and every one of these shows. And that reminds me, Eric, we got to give a shout out to our sponsor today.
Yeah, so summer is here. It's more sun, more light, more time to do all the things that make summer so special. And the number one thing you don't want to be doing all summer, well, it's spending hours cooking inside, and that's where Factor comes in. Factor chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals are ready in just 2 minutes, taking the hassles out of eating as well.
Get outside instead of prepping and cooking indoors. Factor meals arrive fresh and ready to eat, perfect for any active lifestyle. With 45 weekly menu options, you can pick gourmet meals that fit your goals. Choose from Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto, and much, much more.
Yeah, guys, Factor absolutely powers your day with satisfying breakfasts, on-the-go lunches, and premier dinners, and guilt-free snacks and desserts. It's easy to savor more this summer. Factor meals pack in the flavor with none of the fuss. You can get started at factormeals.com/milehigh50off and use code milehigh50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code milehigh50off and factormeals.com/milehigh50off for 50% off plus free shipping.
Yeah, shout out to Factor. Appreciate that coming in. We got Todd saying Barron should be okay with the contract. Yeah, I mean, he signed it, so would expect so as well. Dunhill says, got to share X as a Raiders fan, so I named my daughters Peyton and Bailey. So much winning here in Broncos country. I mean, sorry for her, but good job on that all the same. But yeah, we got Gatorade say it sucks Harvey may not start at camp, but it makes the J.K. Dobbins signing all the more necessary. Yeah, it provides coverage and raises the floor. I do think, with what's going on with Harvey, you might limit the ceiling, at least early on as well. But we'll see. We got Troy Boer coming in again, 2 super chats today. So double dip, and we appreciate that. He says, can't wait to find out whether the QR hype from minicamp was real once the pads are on. So he's Q Robinson here on this one. Yeah, the real thing here, Troy, is that you're still probably not going to totally know in camp, because how often is he going to be getting one-on-one and like actual live setting reps where he doesn't have like unbelievable amount of space, the quarterback, patting the football, holding on to it, versus one of the Broncos' 2 starting caliber tackles, right? That's something we talked about last week on the show a lot. It's like, okay, well, Palczewski looked okay in those games, competent, especially good for an undrafted free agent. Parrott, they brought him back. They must like him to some extent. We'll see about Truss. We'll see about Crum. But just like it's not a Broncos problem, this is a league problem. Tackle is one of the most scarcity-driven positions, and the quality drops off dramatically from the starters to the second string generally. So Q Robinson absolutely cooking backups in OTA setting. I don't know how much it changes going from still cooking backups in the training camp setting. And also, you're not exactly having to play the run, so you can kind of cheat a little bit sometimes as well. So it's good to have, obviously. Like if you have that information and he's out there, as you say, the hype and doing great with pads on everything, you'd rather have that than not. But I still want to see it with more live reps against ideally starting caliber offensive tackles. Are we going to get that with Q? Maybe some sprinkled in over training camp and preseason, but it's a deep edge room. So it'll be curious to watch the pecking order.
Yeah, it's one of those positions where even when the pads are, it's kind of take steps, right? You want to see the play there in OTs and minicamp without pads on, where contact is limited. That favors pass rushers. And then in training camp, when the pads come on, you still want to see that success, which, hey, Q Robinson, that's an opportunity for him. Doubt he goes up against Garrett Bowles and Mike McGlinchey a whole lot, but he can still show up against the secondary or the second tackles. And then in the preseason, it's a little bit more. It's actual game reps. That's where you can't cheat the run as much as you can in practices, including training camp practices, to help you out as a pass rusher a little bit. But he's still not going to be seeing those great starters that much, if at all, or even high quality starters, because a lot of teams will sit them, or by the time Q Robinson's coming out there, unless Nick Benito or Jonathan Cooper aren't playing, and he's one of those top two edge rushers, he's probably not going to see him a whole lot. But it's those steps that you want to see. So we'll find out a little bit more. It'll help us get an idea of how much of that was, the status of what you can do in OTs and minicamp versus how much of that was actually him looking good. We'll get a clearer idea on that, but it's still not a 100% question answered kind of situation.
Yeah, no doubt. I did see somebody in here talking about wildfires in Colorado. Just checked. Yeah, I mean, that South Rim fire, 4,000 acres already. Yikes. You got the Sobelly fire, 2,000 acres. You got 2 fires kind of running into each other over here. The Turner Gulch fire, 13,000 acres. My God, man, that is... Oh, wildfires give me so much freaking stress. Hopefully everything... We need some cold spells here. It's been a hot and dry one, and I don't know. Thank you, Troy, so much. Yeah, I'll be curious about the Q Robinson hype as well. Do we know it? I'll ask Eric. I'm not sure where we're at on this. Jonah Ellis injuries right now. What's going on with him as far as... Yeah, I know he was sitting out in OTAs because he suffered that injury against the Bills. At least that was my understanding. That opens up pathway for playing time. Ellis is not going to get totally forgotten as a 3rd-round pick, but I mean, you have talented guys there. You can get Wally pipped to some extent.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the status with him with the injury coming into training camp. I know that as you said, in OTs and minicamp, he wasn't able to do a whole lot because he's dealing with the injury. But from what I remember, there was some expectation that he might get cleared before the end of those. I don't know if he actually did or not, so I don't know what his status is coming into training camp.
Yeah. And speaking of which, the pecking order of the depth of the pass rush is probably one of the areas I am absolutely most intrigued by in terms of Broncos training camp battle. Now that we've already discussed Barron, it's good to have that done. We're on RJ Harvey watch, but we're on 2nd round across the league watch, so that's not a Broncos problem necessarily. And I don't think they could pay him the guaranteed contract. It's a little riskier with the running back position, but still, you're you're planning on keeping him those 4 years. It's not massive, but I don't see the Walton Penner group rocking the boat that much from the league.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm really excited about the depth of the edge room. Again, is it going to be the Broncos 2015 defense where you had first round pick Shane Ray plus Shaq Barrett, who ended up having, pretty phenomenal career overall? I don't see that. But you have, of course, Q Robinson. We talked about Jonah Ellis. We'll see about that. Tillman last season was really good as well, of course. And then whatever the role is going to be for Drew Sanders. I know they're talking about linebacker, but they also mentioned pressure player a lot. So what does that look like? So edge, the depth of the edge room. I'm not sure how it shakes out. I think on the shoulder injury from Ellis really throws a wrench in it. If not, I think it's probably Ellis. Year 2, he's really young, rookie All-Pro team last season. But the injury, there's opportunity. Tillman, a very physical player, different profile than anybody else you have. Jonathan Cooper kind of plays that profile, but just doesn't have the same mass. And Q might be the second best athlete of the group. So very intriguing. I'm excited to watch what they mean. Again, talking on both sides of my mouth. How much can you take away from the backup offensive tackles? Still want to see it rather than not.
Yeah. And edge rusher is one of those positions where I think you have your 5 guys who are going to make the roster. It's just, what does that 3, 4, 5 order look like? I would bet that it's Jonah Ellis as that number 3, but we just talked about his injury. What is Tillman? Because I think last year he showed that he was the best run defender of the group, but he only played about 100 run defense snaps. And honestly, with this group, it's not hard to be the best run defender. It's not a good run defense group. So, and then where is Q Robinson in this? How much progress does he show as a pass rusher? It's great that, that hype and minicamp and OTAs was there, but how much of that was that? How much of that was him? I still think there's a lot of work for him to do to be more than just kind of a situational pass rusher. I don't see him getting more than about 100 snaps barring injury on defense on the season. I think he's more so special teams this year. So I think the pecking order is going to be Ellis, Tillman, Robinson. But hey, if that hype for Robinson is real and he's able to come out and absolutely kill it in the preseason and in training camp, there's a possibility that he could take that 3rd or 4th spot. So it's still very much up in the air. Only thing we know is that Nick Benito, he's one of your starters, unless some team blows Denver away with a trade offer, which I doubt is going to happen. And Jonathan Cooper is the number 2 edge rusher, and I don't think that there's a way to unseat him, largely because that contract extension they gave him last year, that does play a factor into where players, are slotted on the depth chart.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We got Donald Wilson in the house. Good morning, everyone. Catching up. 90s. There's the wildfire comment. Gosh, I know that Black Canyon had a fire. Just devastating. We got Bama X in the house. Good morning, Broncos country. The wait is almost over. Yes, it is. It's coming around the corner here. Pretty good. Michael Ronquillos, the Denver Broncos 2015 defense wasn't in the top 10 all time since 2000. Baltimore Ravens made the list 3 times. I'm not sure where that list came from, but Denver's 2015 defense, anybody who doesn't have them in the top 10 all time, I think, doesn't appreciate just how detrimental the Broncos offense was for that unit. Like, it was the opposite of complimentary football. Peyton led the league in interceptions despite missing 5-6 games or something. I mean, they had to put up points, and they had continuously just terrible field position and situations. So they had nothing really going for them offensively, and they still won because they're able to put up points and take advantage of it. So they're absolutely top 10. There's an argument that they're top 3 all time, and I'm biased. I mean, I'm not a NFL historian by and large, but the onus that was on them for success, and then on top of it, narrative wise, the quarterbacks they went through to win that Super Bowl in Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady, and MVP Cam Newton. I mean, that's pretty darn good. I think they get a little bit maybe discredited because you have the name brand of Peyton Manning, but let's be honest, Peyton Manning 2015 was trash. He was not good at that point anymore. So God bless him. I don't know if you win the Super Bowl without him. Same with Brock Osweiler. I don't know if you win it, but that 2015 defense, what they were able to do to win the Super Bowl, overcoming arguably the worst Broncos offense in the last decade, is pretty remarkable. So silly nonsense. I'm not taking whoever put that list together too seriously for that thought, at least. Austin H comes in and says, what are your thoughts of Johnny Walker for the edge room? Heard good things about him. He's a weird player, a lot of sacks last season, weird body type, undrafted for a reason. Athletic profiles will get you drafted more than production for the edge rush position. It's just so deep at edge, I have a hard time seeing him making the roster. But if he stands out, he's definitely got a chance to make the practice squad. And if an injury happens, the guy's traded because you have a surplus, we can have a conversation. But as it stands, I just think you got too much quality depth and investments right now on the position that he's going to be battling with Andrew Farmer for a spot right now. It's so deep. You got 5 guys.
Yeah, and that's kind of the issue with either Farmer or Walker, is both of them are those clear guys out because of what we got out of the edge room last year. And then the investment in Q Robinson plus his special teams ability more than likely leads to him being on the roster. And as you said, Walker is a weird one because of his body type and his play style. He looks like he plays one way, but he doesn't. He's not. The term looks like Tarzan, plays like Jane. It kind of comes to mind with him because of the way he's built. He kind of has that look to it, and he plays a very not so physical contact style game, and it definitely shows up against the run. Absolutely killed it during Shrine Week. I mean, he was one of those guys where didn't matter if it was in practices or in the actual game, he was absolutely killing it consistently. But it just comes down to the fact that in the game, they isolated him in the run game, and the other side had some success doing that, and it remained a big issue for him, and part of why he went undrafted. And with the way the Broncos room is with their issues with run defense, it makes it harder for him to do it. So practice squad, I think, is where he ends up at.
Yeah. Also really curious about it's just the starters feel pretty good on the Broncos side. Like there's not really a starting battle other than how does the cornerback room shake out? I do think that we can't completely bury Jaquan McMillan. Maybe Riley Moss ends up being the backup there. Maybe it ends up with it's really hard to imagine benching Jahdae Barron, but you never know, right? You had some pretty good defense last year. So right now, Moss outside, McMillan slot, Patrick Surtain, your primary boundary cornerback. The defense, the earth revolves around him for how the Broncos defense functions. But I still want to see how the battles shake out, especially given Barron's a rookie. There's always theory in that transition. And then Moss's injury history. So I think that's the only spot for the starters where it's like, we'll see what happens. But it'd be pretty shocking if everyone is healthy, if it's not Moss and Barron.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with somebody about the lack of need for starters really on the secondary. And there's another position that was brought up, which caught my attention, but corner was the main one. And the way it was put is that part of this conversation, and this is something that I believe I talked about with you on one of the morning shows back in June, is where is Jahdae Barron more comfortable at? If he's more comfortable on the boundary, that's going to help help Jaquan McMillan potentially be the other starter, because Nickel is a starter in this defense. If he's more comfortable in the slot, then that's going to help Riley Moss. But of course, it still comes down to the play of those individuals. If Moss is struggling, and even if Barron is more comfortable in the slot, well, they may end up forcing Barron outside and putting McMillan in there, or if Moss gets hurt. I do expect all 4 of them to make it at this point. I don't expect a trade for Jaquan McMillan, which makes sense. He's still cheap. He's still cost controlled. He still would be a restricted free agent after the season, which is still cost controlled player. And they brought in Jahdae Barron to improve the depth as well as the starting unit, and doing that and then releasing Jaquan McMillan or trading him would kind of defeat that purpose. And then that's about it. I think even for when you look at the position as a whole, I don't think there's much of a battle for depth either. I think Chris Abrams-Drain is that 5th corner. I think the question becomes can one of these other corners make the case for Denver to keep 6 corners? And if so, where do they cut from another position? And with the health of Riley Moss and his injury history, that could help keep that 6th one. But right now, I think they only keep 5, and I think it's a very clear-cut 5 that make it.
Yeah. Let it play out, of course, but you will see how it plays there. Yeah, Michael's saying no fly defense. We might have that here again. Good to see you. Yeah, thank God Vinatieri missed the extra point early in that game. I mean, thank God the Broncos put up 3 points in that first drive, or was a touchdown on that first drive, and then you had how the game played out in the for the Super Bowl when you had the touchdown early defensively. Like that totally changes how you can manage the game. Thank God Antonio Bryant didn't play in the Steelers game, right? He had that concussion. So things lined up for Denver, but still, that defense was unbelievable. I thought, Eric, you were going a different direction with your defensive back talk. I thought you were going to talk about if and when they go dime, how does that look? What is the look of the dime defense? Now, Granted, we saw that a good bit last season. Ideally, you're not seeing it as much this year because you like your linebackers more. So you're not like actively trying to get them off the field in favor of a dime. But there is a battle, obviously, for the sixth defensive back. Is it going to be Key Lock? Could it be McMillan? Do they want a little bit more master size? I mean, it could be a 1A, 1B situation there for that sixth defensive back. But do you have any thoughts about what that looks like for the Broncos, or any intrigue in that spot?
Yeah, I'm intrigued in how it is, but from looking back at kind of what they've done the last couple of years under Vance Joseph, and just based off of things that have gone around a little bit, it seems that their dime package is going to vary depending on who they're playing against, depending on what they want to bring in as that that dime defensive back. So I'm intrigued as to how it plays out because it has an impact on the overall secondary count. You typically keep 10 guys in the secondary, maybe 11. So is that 6-5? Is it 5-5? Is it 6-4? And so how that shapes out can, impact what that number is. And one of the things I absolutely love is the breakdown of the numbers at each position when it comes down to making that 53-man roster.
Are you expecting that sixth defensive back to be more of a safety type or a cornerback type? Just off the cuff.
Right now, I think it's more of a safety type. I think that they're going 5-5 because just from again from some conversations, there's a focus on finding consistency on special teams. And when you look at it, a lot of those depth safeties bring special teams ability. So I don't think it's so much as what they do on defense. I think it's going to come down to what they do on special teams. And right now that edge goes to the safety room because Sam Franklin, PJ Locke, and JL Skinner are all special teams guys.
Yeah. And what stands out for me, I think it's my thought on the dime group is you have your dime backer, but he's one of your starting four. It's Hufanga being moved down into the box. And then who does that lead for? Probably PJ Locke. Now, granted, the contract stuff, the injury stuff, we'll see if he sticks around. But my thought is you're probably giving Hufanga some range there and moving him around, and then probably Locke as that next guy. But you never know. Maybe they keep Hufanga back. JL Skinner with that big body type, different. But I'd want Hufanga to be the movable chess piece right now. After that, I mean, we've already talked a little bit. The depth at safety, the depth at linebacker. We'll see how these undrafted guys play out. I'm really intrigued by specifically the depth at linebacker, though. The Broncos, obviously, they have Greenlaw. Drew Sanders hasn't really worked out. And you have the undrafted free agent guys who we're looking for these guys, somebody to take a step forward and splash because Denver has not really invested in the position. When they did, it hasn't worked out. Drew Sanders, Strenad's obviously a holding piece for the defense to raise the floor, but you don't want to see him out there if possible. Lavelle Bailey, some flashes last year, he's got a leg up, but JB Brown, Jordan Turner, Karen Reed, two of those guys, maybe even three, have a chance to step up and have a role on this team, maybe displacing Drew Sanders.
Yeah, and this was the other position where the guy I was having a conversation with the other day mentioned another starter. He kind of made it out to seem that there's a better chance than we may think of Alex Singleton being moved on from just because of his age, his contract. I still think it's less than 1%, but the guy I was having a conversation with kept bringing it up. So it was noteworthy that he kept talking about Alex Singleton's spot not being, cemented. So if he does lose it, it seems that it's going to be for Lavelle Bailey. That just seems to have been the conversation going back to even last year that they're looking at Lavelle Bailey to kind of be that Alex Singleton replacement. Wasn't ready last year. They wanted to get him out at one point during the season, but he just wasn't quite ready yet. There's been a lot of hype around him about what he's done in the mental side of things over the course of this offseason. And obviously we got to see how that translates into preseason action and games. And if he can go out there and shine, I think that's the only avenue for no Alex Singleton on this roster. But again, I think it's less than 1%. And then, as you said, the depth at the position, that's a complete mystery. Does Drew Sanders finally show that he's putting it together finally after 2 years in the NFL? Who knows? JB Brown, Karen Reed, and Jordan Turner, undrafted guys, can never really write them out. Lavelle Bailey, I think Lavelle Bailey is actually pretty guaranteed to make a spot. I don't want to say 100%, but there's just so much hype around him for not only what he's doing on defense, but special teams play as well, that I think he's pretty well cemented on on the roster. But of course, a lot can change in training camp and preseason action. Injuries can happen that can throw a wrench in it. But they're just basically, there's a lot of love for Lavelle Bailey coming from within the organization.
Well, that's exciting. I know that Todd Davis, who's now with the Broncos, spoke highly of him a lot last season, and he had that, was it the Colts preseason game? He had a pretty big play. So, well, I mean, gosh, it'd be a good thing if you can go younger and cheaper and less injured and move on from Singleton. I think that's a little risky, but we are dealing with, only a few puzzle pieces where the people in the organization have a lot more as far as like how those other guys look, as well as how Singleton's doing coming back from injury. I know that he's a fan favorite, but it's a business at the end of the day. So some tough decisions. After that, camp battles. We already talked about Q Robinson. We're going to wrap up here in 2-3 minutes. I just want to see what Savion Jones does. I'm expecting him to end up being the Broncos' 5th pass rusher, but how much, there's snaps to go. So displacing Jordan Jackson, Ioma Awazarike is also a dark horse as well for a role in there. We'll see what happens with Matt Henningsen. I'm expecting him probably practice squad guy, but Savion Jones, is it possible that I would love him to show so well? It's not necessarily a training camp battle, but like show so well that you don't have to have Zach Allen play 10 more interior defensive line snaps a game than any other interior defensive lineman. Let that go to Savion. Zach Allen's great, but I'm hoping that Savion Jones shows enough to earn those reps overall.
Yeah. And, with the defensive line, the only battle here is how many do they keep? I think it's another one of those positions where they have 5 that are clear cut going to make the roster. And then, because I know people have talked about it, I'm not expecting a Malcolm Roach trade or release. I'm not expecting a John Franklin Myers trade or release, though. Hey, no one was expecting Tim Patrick to be released last year. So it could happen, but expectation's not there. So do they keep a 6'1"? Who is it? That's the only real battle there. And I see a couple people talking about Drew Sanders here and Jason Bonney, particularly saying missing his training camp last year. The issue with Drew Sanders was something that he could show even with missing training camp. It's more in the mental aspect and his understanding of the game and showing that in the film room, and he wasn't. That's where the concern is. And I haven't spoken to a single person within the org or around it that has been optimistic about Sanders. And all about 10 to 15 people that I've talked with about it have said he's not making this roster. So has a chance, but it just doesn't seem very likely. It seems like this coaching staff is ready to move on.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be something to keep an eye on, no doubt. But we got to wrap up. We got appointments to do today. Happy Jahdae Barron assigned. RJ Harvey. Hopefully you're next. We'll see what happens. Rookie training camp today. No injuries. Anything else? I don't care what news comes out. No felonies. No arrests. No injuries. Everything else is gravy. Get to the regular season out of trouble and out of the trainer's room if all possible. Any final thoughts, Eric? We didn't really dig too deep in the safety depth. That's another area. It's kind of like linebacker as well, but you have a little bit more bodies. Like you talk about Singleton, we kind of talk about Locke in that same vein. Expensive, but guys that feel a little bit filler-ish with their contract and expendable because the age, contracts, injuries. That's how the league works, right? It's a meat grinder. People, they move on. It's not personal. So any final thoughts?
Yeah, just real quick. I have 2. One on the safety position. It's part of the depth. It's part of the reason why I think that PJ Locke, even with what they can save, makes it, just because he has that experience as a starter. And then don't forget about Sam Franklin. He seems to be a forgotten addition for it, but there seems to be some hype around him on defense as well as special teams. And then going all the way back to RJ Harvey here and, guaranteeing that deal. We know how much he's going to make. $7.3 to $7.4 million. That's his whole contract right there for the 60th overall pick. Even for a running back, I know it's risky. It's still doable, like to guarantee that, because you're going to get 2-3 years out of that. That's the majority of the money. It's still doable, but as we both have said, I don't expect the Walter Penner ownership group to make waves amongst ownership like that just yet.
Yeah. Going to be interesting to follow. We'll see. I hope it happens all at once. Like once one person signs the non-guaranteed one and then dominoes fall. I feel like that's the only way it all falls. So I don't know. I want the players to get the guaranteed money though. Jason says, did y'all see Kay Adams pick Bo Nix as one of the safest bets to go over 4,000 yards? I did not. Is that 4,000 total yards, or is that 4,000 passing yards? I feel pretty good about the total yards if you add in the scrambling. That'd be great. Good for her. And I mean, she's been one of the biggest drum beaters for Sean Payton and the Broncos. So thank you, Jason, for the super chat. Hopefully it cools down for you out in South Carolina. Michael Ronque also closing us out saying, great show today, Nick and Eric on Broncos for breakfast. Go Bo Broncos. Go, Michael. And he says passing. Yeah, that'd be cheating to the total yards. That'd be a little easier. But I mean, Broncos have an offensive line and a good team, and I'm expecting it to happen. The one thing I will say is that it's not necessarily a bad thing if he doesn't go over 4,000 to me, because I think that would indicate that the run game took a massive step forward. But we'll see. He's going to have a good year. I'm excited for him statistically, no doubt. So thanks everybody coming in, joining us today. Troy Boyer a couple of times. Mike Gibbons, of course. Michael Ronquillo. God bless you. Jason Bonney. Appreciate all you guys. Make sure you're following Eric and I on Twitter. Eric is at, there we go. Eric's at Erick Trickel. I'm at Nick Kendell MHH. Also follow us at Mile High Huddle. We're over at facebook.com/Mile High Huddle and facebook.com/Mile High Huddle pod. And as that ticker says there underneath, subscribe, like, and share. We're out of here. We will see you guys again next week. Continue to choose kindness and compassion and stay cool. Hope you have a good rest of your week. Happy hump day. Go Broncos.